Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. It's 8:30, so out of respect for everyone's time, let's get started this morning. I'm Ruthie Davis, Workforce Director at the Tri-County Council for Southern Maryland, and I'll be kicking things off this morning. I wanted to welcome you to the second quarterly IT and Professional Services Industry Roundtable. These meetings convened at your request when we first met in July at the Town Hall meeting are for you, the leaders in your industries and communities, to share ideas, best practices, challenges, triumphs, and particularly your workforce needs, so your workforce development partners, Tri-County Council for Southern Maryland and the College of Southern Maryland, can better focus our resources on meeting your talent needs and putting the citizens of Southern Maryland back to work. So with that intro, we had some, or have some information about two relatively new initiatives that we wanted to share with this group this morning. One is Tech Jobs Rule, and the other is Apprenticeship Maryland. And we have Mary Jane Self and Mary Kay Myers from the Patuxent Partnership that will tell you all about it. So thank you, guys.
Okay, maybe now. Always a challenge to take off mute. In regard to Tech Jobs Rule, it's an innovative apprenticeship program designed to further train and prepare students to fill workforce shortages in STEM and manufacturing career fields. We started Tech Jobs Rule as a partnership with the Forest Tech Center, the Strategic Education Office of NOC-AD, and the Patuxent Partnership. It matches high school students with paid apprenticeship opportunities in government and local industry. What we did was check the demand signals of the industry and matched up the student to certain fields. So the areas that we focus on are aviation, automotive refinishing and repair, automotive technology, CAD, diesel technology, electrical wiring, engineering, IT networking, production engineering, and welding. And we match all of the apprenticeships with the Apprenticeship Maryland program. Connie Kelly couldn't be on the call this morning, but she is the lead person for all internship program at the Tech Center. And as we look at the benefits to employers, student apprentices have basic training, they're eager to learn, they come into the business without preconceived notions of how to do things, so the employer can train them the way they want to train them and the way that they do their procedures. So a student apprentice wouldn't have to unlearn something. As I said, the AMP program is the Apprenticeship Maryland Youth Program. I think you said you were going to hear a little bit more about that, but definitely have a navigator. Connie Kelly works with all the employers that participate are approved by the Maryland. I think it's the apprenticeship training. I think that's all I was going to say, Mary Jane. I think you're going to talk a little bit about the benefits to students and how we match up and get students to work.
All right, hello everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. So Mary Kay basically does the outreach for the program, finds the companies and gives them information. I also do a little bit of that in that I'm happy to give tours of the tech center for anybody that is not familiar with the programs there or the students that we have there. And I can also provide the potential employers with curriculum information, let them know what kind of skills students would be coming in with, and that sort of thing. After that, I pretty much manage and coordinate the program from that point on. Initially I give the instructors and the students information about all of the companies that are willing to participate in the program. I give the students all that information and the instructors all that information. And the students then contact me and let me know about their interest. I check with their teachers and make sure that those students are also being recommended by the instructors. At that point, students give me their resumes, and I go over those resumes, make sure that they have some of the skills that the companies are looking for. And then I send those resumes on to the companies. They choose the students that they would like to interview. And then I help set up those interviews. And after the interviews, the companies will give me a prioritized list of who they would agree to take on. Then I coordinate that with students. So I let them know whether they did or did not get an offer from a company. After that, I am working with the mentors of the companies to make sure everything runs smoothly. I meet with the students about 7 times throughout the year. Those meetings last about 15 minutes. If the mentors want to join in the meetings, we're happy to have them, but it's not a requirement. I know that their time is precious. So for the most part, I do see the mentors quite often. Some companies, I see them every time we have a meeting. But again, those meetings last about 15 minutes. At that time at the meeting, I will go over their grading rubric with them. We grade these students. Their grade is factored into their GPA. And the grading really consists of employability and soft skills. Those are the skills that the company mentors are telling us are most important. So that's what I grade them on. Things like how dependable are they getting to work on time, all of those employability and soft skills. And again, that grade goes into their GPA. Their attendance is also tracked using an app called Time Station. So we make sure that they're getting there on time. I really troubleshoot any problems that may arise. At this point, we've been doing this for 2 years and I haven't had a problem. These kids are awesome. What else do I need to tell you about? At the end of the entire program, we build a resume with the student again, take off things that don't apply anymore, and beef up their resume. At the end of the program, many of our students will find that they're offered full-time or part-time employment with that company. If they're not, then their resume goes into a pool, and really any company could pick them up, and they should have a really good working resume at that point. I think I've covered everything that I do. I work very closely with Bonnie Kelly because this is an Apprenticeship Maryland program. And so I do work very closely with Bonnie because she is the kind of the liaison between me and the school system. Any questions? All right, thanks everybody.
Thanks. And if you have any questions, please follow up with either one of us. And we look forward to reaching out to the local companies and getting them connected to this program.
Mary Jane, there's a comment from Bridget Brown indicating that the Cyber Youth Apprenticeship Initiative may be able to help in some of your efforts. So Bridget, if you would put your contact information in the chat, Mary Jane can snatch that up.
Absolutely, and I'll send her a quick email as well.
Awesome.
Great, thank you.
Thank you
At
both.
this point, we are, yes, at this point, we're just beginning our next year's search for companies. So Mary Kay will be reaching out to quite a few companies, but we just want to get the word out and try to catch as many companies that are, I know COVID's still an issue, but we have been able to work with that with the companies we have this year. So I know that's still going to be a curveball that we've got to try to catch.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mary Jane and Mary Kay. I think Bonnie, if she was able to join us, was going to talk about the Apprenticeship Maryland grant. And I know that is in St. Mary's as well as in Calvert. Would anybody like to kick in with information about that? Michael or Carrie?
So I can add a few things if you want from St. Mary's. So I don't know if the navigator is the same, but the navigator here is Jane Sinclair. And she actually does site visits. She works with Bonnie Kelly to identify what program at the tech center matches up with job description. So then the employer fills out a application and they put in there what the specifics about their company, what the job is, what the pay is, excuse me, how frequently, but they have to work 450 hours in a paid apprenticeship to get credit that Mary Jane was talking about for their graduation. The application is all packaged. It's sent to Maryland Apprentice Training Council. They review that and approve after they've done a site visit to the employer, just to make sure safe measures are carried out. But we can send you Jane Sinclair's information. I think there's a call later today maybe about this too.
And Mary Jane, there's a question from Ed about printed materials or somewhere online where the information about the program can be found. Is there a website or information you can put in the chat?
I could definitely send a brochure that we use for Tech Job Rules. We have it on our website, but we're under construction a little bit in regard to the content. But Ed, I'll definitely send that to you.
In addition, am I still on?
Yeah.
In addition to that, there right now on the Forest Center's website, there is a description of every program that they have at the Tech Center. It's a very good, it's a video. Each one of the instructors is talking about their class and what they do, and there's a lot of visual things that you can see. So if you go on the Forest Technology Center's website, that will give you some information about each one of our programs. There is a little bit of information about what I do and what the program includes on that website, our brochure and a one-page information sheet that I constructed. So that's, if you go on to the Forest Center website, that should be available to you as well.
Mary Jane, can you put that website link in the chat for those who may not be familiar? I appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you.
So,
Hey, Ruthie, this is sorry,
go ahead,
Carrie.
Mike. No, go ahead, Mike.
Okay. Really, they summed it up perfectly. I mean, it doesn't get much different than that. The two are basically synonymous with one another. Text Jobs Rule was basically our pilot for AMP that has grown into this entity of its own. So really, they're kind of the same thing, but different at the same time. There's certain things that Text Job Rules don't need so that we can get other kids involved that might not have everything that is there for AMP. Or if the kids certainly don't need a CTE pathway, they don't need to be in AMP, they can be in Tech Jobs Rule. So these guys are great. They're awesome to work for, and they've done a great job explaining all of it.
So I'll just explain a little bit. In Calvert County, we're doing our Apprenticeship Maryland just a little bit differently. The basic premise is, of course, the same, that, you know, they're registered youth apprenticeships. I don't know what that is. So we're looking for employers that are willing to sponsor the youth apprentices. The difference between how we're doing it here at Calvert and how I believe they're doing it at St. Mary's is our Apprenticeship Maryland students are not necessarily, and in fact, probably not, our students that attend the Career and Technology Academy. As we're starting, and next year will be our first group. So we're just getting off the ground. So we're right at the ground level. So if anyone's interested, this is a perfect time to get involved. But we are hoping to kind of capture some students who hadn't really either made decisions about maybe what path they want to go on when they graduate. So they didn't enroll in a program at CTA in their junior year. Or they've, you know, along the way kind of come to realize that, you know, they're looking for something specific that they just hadn't found yet. So our hope is actually in our apprenticeship program to maybe capture some students who aren't already in other tech programs. So basically what we're doing is working with each employer to talk about what the opportunity is that they'd like to offer, what kind of student they're looking for, and what kind of related instruction the employer feels like would be necessary in order for that student to be successful, either as a prerequisite or co-requisite with completing the apprenticeship itself. So I will put my information in the chat as well. And if there's anyone in Calvert or, you know, on this side, I try not to encroach on over the bridge. I try to let, you know, since I know we all have a lot of students, and there seems to always be more students sometimes than opportunities like this. So, but would love to find some additional partners here in Calvert as well.
Hey, Carrie, that almost summed it up perfectly with the difference between Check Jobs Rule and RAMP. RAMP can be any kind of student. The Tech Jobs Rules has kind of navigated towards those students because of the skill set in which they have. And that's a skill set who MJ and Mary Kay are looking for to, you know, fit positions inside of our base and inside of that defense community. So RAMP can be anybody as well, as far as, you know, if you're looking for an office manager, we walk into our CTE courses that may have a student that's versed in all the Microsoft Office things that would help in that access. So that's probably a great way to differentiate the two programs, even though they kind of overlap and work together. That skill set that MJ and Mary Kay are looking for seem to come from those kids out of our tech center. Not to say that we wouldn't take someone else, but that skill set's a pretty high demand skill set in the defense community.
And I guess if it's all right, Ruthie and Ellen, I guess I'll add, because it kind of goes along with the conversation. So in Calvert, we have our Cisco cybersecurity program. So we do from time to time, as we've gotten different opportunities, you know, we, like Mike was saying, we will typically find students within that program that are well suited or interested in those kinds of opportunities. We did just get an innovation grant in Calvert County for a virtual cybersecurity lab. It's a NetLab Plus, basically sandbox for the students to work in, which is pretty cool.
Congratulations, Carrie.
Thanks. Yeah, about
competitive.
About $143,000. Fun to spend somebody else's money. So, but it basically I think the very, very cool thing about it is not only, you know, in the COVID environment and virtual school, we you know, in terms of cybersecurity, it's really hard to find like real world applications for students to practice on, right? Because you don't necessarily want them getting into things and access to things until they really know what they're doing and that kind of thing. So the nice thing about the NetLab Plus system is they can go in there and play around with it and practice and not break anything. So when they're done practicing, we just hit the reset switch and everything goes back the way that it should be. So we are actually still waiting on the last server to show up. It's been back ordered for 2 months. So hoping it'll get here soon. As soon as it does, we'll really be able to literally plug it in and get the students on there. So
That's awesome.
So Ruthie, we created that lab last year at ours too. So since this is an IT forum, anybody that's out there that is looking for kids, our kids can do a lot of this. Inside of the defense community down here, there's a lot of them that want our kids, but they don't want to get them until they're 18, which makes a lot of sense. So they get a lot of internships and things like that once they go into college, and then they have some really great opportunities. But, if there's anyone out there that is looking for IT kids, I'm sure all 3 counties can do it, especially if you want to use them at a lower end, entry level, get them started and teach them the way they want them to be taught. Ironically, our own system won't hire any of our kids, but Charles County did hire some of our kids over the summer to help. And hopefully that helped with, embarrassing our own IT system at St. Mary's County Public Schools and hire some of our kids next year. But our kids are ready to work in those IT programs, probably across all 3 counties.
That brings to mind something I hear frequently from employers, that they're looking for candidates that have some experience. So I would hope that your students that have been playing in these sandboxes can craft that into their resumes to say, hey, I haven't had real world experience, but I've been on a real platform and have that experience.
Mm-hmm. And there are a couple of comments in the chat from I think 2 employers that are looking for college students with IT and cyber background interest, and that leads nicely into our next speaker, Ruthie. Paula Caluzzi from the College of Southern Maryland, who manages the business and IT services program, is also here to share some information about the available pipeline.
Good morning, and thank you for this opportunity to speak on my programs. In the IT area, I'm primarily offering IT certification exam prep courses. So we have from CompTIA, we have IT Fundamentals, A+, Network Plus, and Security Plus. Students do receive their exam vouchers as part of the class. And given the COVID situation right now, CompTIA and Pearson VUE have allowed certification participants to be able to have their exams proctored online, so they don't have to go to a testing center. And so that's been great for those students because our testing centers are closed right now. So they're able to still test in that instance. We also offer Cisco Certified Networking Associate, Certified Ethical Hacker, and several certifications from ISC Squared. And many of these we offer in a boot camp situation. We have a training partnership with Training Camp. And so they are helping us to do classes virtually. And so the same situation applies, that vouchers are available once the students finish the courses and they're able to test right away. So in the last 2 years, we've had 100 students go through our IT fundamentals class, and we make that a prerequisite to our A+ class just because we want to make sure that they understand what IT is about and make sure that it's a good fit for them. And then those that are really serious about it move on to A+, and then stack their credentials from there going into Network Plus and Security Plus. We also, in the last year and a half, created a bridge course, Networking Fundamentals, for students who want to go into Network Plus but don't have the prerequisite background to move into that exam prep. So it gives them an opportunity to beef up their skills in networking. So We also have given students credit for prior certifications that they've earned. So students who maybe have gone and gotten the Google professional certificate in IC support, they would get credit for the IT fundamentals class. The same thing with the networking. We offer credit for prior learning for networking fundamentals as well. So either a work resume or any type of vocational college technical training that they've taken would be eligible for credit for prior learning. And we also have created a guided pathway with our credit side in the academic area so that students who earn these certifications would be able to apply those certifications to either a certificate or associate's degree on the academic side. So, any questions?
Paula, would you put your contact information in the chat so that people can reach out to you who are looking
Sure.
for certified individuals? Thank you.
Ellen, would you like to take it from here?
Sure, I was just about to ask you. Thank you. Okay, but thank you to all of our presenters for that very important information. Clearly, it's so important that we continue to reiterate to our community at large the extensive workforce system that exists to create this pipeline. And more importantly, that the community understands that we're all working together. We're not in competition with each other. All of the individuals we're serving are citizens of our regional ecosystem and community, and we need to find paths and opportunities for all of them. And so we really just appreciate industry's interest in working with us to help us provide opportunities for young people and for adults that are looking for careers in the IT and professional services industry. So thank you for that. So now is the time, and time is drawing close, that we open the floor. It's really for you to share with us as an industry issues, concerns, or questions that you might have for how we as a region might address any critical workforce needs that you have. So we'd just like to open the floor to see if there's anything that you'd like to discuss. So hearing none, Ruthie, I do have a question that came to my mind in the last week based on a conversation I was having, and just wanted to ask our community about this. So sharing something a little bit personal, I have a son who's in the National Guard and a son that's in a Navy reservist. And both of them have clearances, and one of them has a top secret clearance. And even with a top secret clearance, job search is challenging for young people, in their early 20s who are not familiar with navigating the pathway of getting out there. And I just wondered, what type of outreach or coordination do we have as a community to the reservist and National Guard community, which are very often young people who are in college, who are going to school, using the tuition benefit, and getting these certifications and sometimes getting clearances, and yet still need full-time jobs. Are we in a coordinated way working with schools that have those programs to connect to those students? I just wondered. Barbara?
Yeah, I can share a little bit about that, Ellen. So I can relate to your children. I think I remember they were a little shorter, a little smaller last time we talked. I saw photos, so it's great to see him growing up so nicely. So my son Jack, he he was in the Army, National Guard, and then so active duty Army and the National Guard after that. And so during his time when he was he's in the Army and in the Guard, he accumulated quite a number of certifications in cyber, and he was taking classes online the whole time as well. So he was rather engaged. But what he found was that education, he did a lot of work through the online education programs that worked out really well for him, just because he is military and they moved around a lot. And then locally, he got a job where he could. But upon leaving the service in the Army, he picked up a job very quickly with a number of companies. Actually, he changed companies within a short 18 months very quickly, because every time he got a certification, he could look for another job, and he got another job with a promotion. So he's done very well. He does have top secret clearance right now, but it's all, and he works for Booz Allen just outside of Fort Meade area, doing some work there. But what I found was really interesting was that Guard and that Navy work that your boys are doing, it makes a difference, and every bit of that counts. So what I'd recommend, and what my son did, was he enriched what he had and then took advantage of it and built his resume around it. And that was very helpful. And I can brag on him a little bit. Just in the last couple months, he just received another promotion. And so he's actually looking for another job, because he actually promotes into another position at this point. So there's a quick mobility, upward mobility available for folks very interested in going cyber and enjoy being around it.
Well, I appreciate that, Barbara. And very much to what you just said, that's sort of my point. I know as a region, we've had discussions about how challenging it is for industry to find qualified individuals who possess those clearances. Yet I'm having firsthand experience with young people who are trying to reach into a community. And it's not, overly difficult, but it's not as transparent. You would think it would be a really clear gateway for those who have those clearances to connect, right into that demand. And, if you know people, then you know people. But if you don't know people, I'm just thinking there's a pool of young people that we might be able to strategize as a region. How do we connect to those units? Or can we offer something specific that targets that population to pull them in? Because I'm experiencing it and I'm like, it's just making me think. So I just wanted to throw that out there. If it's something we're not doing, we might want to consider how we might do it as a region, how we reach in a little more to that group. Because they're in and all around us, even if their units aren't, I know a young man who lives down here and his unit is in Pennsylvania. And he goes up there every once a month and, does it. So it's interesting to me to now be experiencing that.
So I can share one more interesting piece you might enjoy. So my son he has 4 roommates. They have this big house and they all are roommates, and all these guys are IT geeks, which is kind of fun. And of the 5, him included, of the 5, 3 are National Guard or Army, and so they have their clearances. But the other 2 guys, they weren't involved in IT at all. And so those other boys got together and said, "Hey, we're going to teach you how to get some basic stuff." Mm-hmm. So they all teamed up. They mentored them. So everyone in that house has certifications, because they are helping the others out. It's a team effort. So as they study as a group to get the next certification. So not only are these guys that are, I'd say their age group is between 26 and 33, these guys all living together, they are helping each other in their career, which is just fascinating. So I think that kind of teamwork and that mentor really helps. And I think working together with those kind of certification truly helps, because you can study together. Just to add something fun.
Thank you. And thank you for the recommendation, Catherine. I think that's where I'll start with Key, talking to him. And then if anyone else wants to join that discussion, I think it's worth batting it around a little bit. If anyone else agrees and just wants to be a part of a small group discussion, that'd be great. I only need 3 or 4 people.
Ellen, there's a young professionals group in St. Mary's County. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have the information in front of me, but I'll certainly find it and send it to you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Any other topics for discussion before I turn it back over to Ruthie? Okay, Ruthie.
Okay, I wanted to take this opportunity to share with you another new initiative in Southern Maryland that I'm hoping that the citizens and the businesses of Southern Maryland will find extremely useful. It's called Skillup Southern Maryland, and we have a brief presentation to share with you, Sandy, if you'll do that. Okay, Skillup Southern Maryland. Over the past several months, these town halls and roundtable meetings have certainly brought to light the challenges that our local industries face. One of the biggest challenges in some industries is loss of skilled workers. In others, very much like yours, it's the lack of skilled applicants in your industry. So we searched for a solution to help skill up the workforce, allowing them to work towards an industry recognized certification on their own, learn from the comfort of their home even during COVID, and when their schedule allows. And that solution is Skillup Southern Maryland. And Sandy, if you'd share, we have a brief 1-minute video to tell you about it.
Communities across the country are facing unprecedented challenges due to the coronavirus. Millions of Americans are losing jobs as businesses struggle to generate revenue. The majority still working are doing so from home. As history has shown with previous crises, we will pull through this together. Our career centers are here to help you prepare now for the eventual economic turnaround. With a large portion of our community expected to be home for the next several months, we are extending access to the Skillup program to our unemployed residents and local employers. Skillup offers the opportunity to update your existing job skills, learn new skills, and even pursue an industry-recognized certification as you prepare to head back to work. The program provides access to over 5,000 courses, training for over 100 certifications, and is accessible from anywhere with internet access 24/7. If you're interested, please visit this site for more information.
Okay, and Sandy, at the conclusion of this, we'll put the website in the chat, and we'll also send this presentation out following the meeting. So this is the landing page for Skillup Southern Maryland when you click up on that link. And as you can see, you can be a job seeker or an employer. We'll talk a little bit more about job seeker services, but let me just say that for employers, you can do a great deal of recruiting as well as upskilling your current incumbent employees. Again, this is free for everyone in Southern Maryland, job seekers and employers. Okay, just to summarize the highlights, 5,000 plus courses free to any resident. Self-register at that link. It is a self-paced online portal that is available 24/7 so that people can work on job skills, software, and more, and work towards more than 100 industry recognized certifications. This page shows the resources for job seekers. They can upgrade their skills, explore career pathways, and work towards these industry recognized certifications simply by self-registering for free, and it is a very easy process. They're able to search for local job listings and information on connecting with our local career centers here in Southern Maryland. Once registered, it will bring them to this screen, where they then select if they would like to explore a particular industry path, browse the catalog of individual courses available if they want to sharpen up their skills and not necessarily go for a credential, or they can job search. If the individual chooses to work towards obtaining an industry certification, this guides them through the process. First, they take a brief 25-question survey where they indicate their skill levels in particular areas, anywhere from office technology, ethics, customer service, specific IT areas, and more, and then choose the specific, specific industry path, such as IT, and their desired occupation. Inputting this information will then generate a skills progress chart, which you can see there, Sandy is circling, based on the information that they provided. Green shows that they have an overage of skills in that particular area. Blue says they meet the skill requirements for that occupation or industry, and red indicates their skills gap. It will then populate their career pathway with the courses and skills needed to obtain the certification. Here you will see just some of the available industry paths for IT, and there are more. And we didn't want to put a dozen slides in here, but I encourage everyone to go on, self-register, explore what is available. So Skillup Southern Maryland was officially launched last Tuesday. And as I said, it's available for anyone living in Southern Maryland. And we will share this information with you following today's roundtable. So this is just one way workforce development is working toward filling your pipeline with skilled applicants. Anyone have any questions about Skillup Southern Maryland?
Actually, I have a question. What if I have somebody that supports NavAir locally here, but they're supporting via telework and don't actually live in Southern Maryland?
I'm sorry, they have to have a Southern Maryland zip code.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. What else? So as I said, this went live a week ago yesterday, and we now have over 100 people registered and pursuing skills upgrades.
Hey, Ruthie, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Can you just talk, you mentioned that employers have access to that. Can you just explain sort of what is involved with an employer having access versus an employer just directing their employees to utilize the site? Like, what does it mean to be an employer who participates?
Okay, so at that landing page that I showed you early in the presentation, the employer can click on employers and register from there. And the employer can design a course curriculum if they like for their incumbent employees. They can design a course curriculum for incoming employees. They can recruit through this.
Okay, that's great. The designable component is really big. I must have not been listening well if you said that. So that's super. Thank you.
You're welcome. I think this could be a very valuable tool for local businesses. I mean, we tend to focus on job seekers and the need to skill up our local workforce, but I think local employers can really benefit from this as well, particularly for free, taking away those training costs that they would normally incur. This was procured through a grant from the Rural Maryland Council, and we have this grant for a year. Once someone registers, they have accessibility to the site for 180 days. Anything else I can address? I would like to add one other thing, and that is happy birthday to Chris Casalimus.
Oh, happy birthday, Chris. Thank you for joining us on your birthday.
Thank you.
Many
Appreciate
more,
that.
and many, many more.
Thank you.
So you're 70 what, Chris?
25.
Oh, you're cruel, cruel.
That was wrong, Steve.
Steve's one to talk.
We could all sing. No,
I
no.
know.
His present is that we won't sing.
Exactly.
Well,
And,
that's,
you know, the next time we meet, we'll be able to provide more of a briefing as well about another regional workforce initiative that we are embarking on regarding the National Career Readiness Certification for a Work-Ready Community. All of you have received numerous communications from me about that, but we have a very strong group of about 52 members of our community representing industry all around the region, as well as our economic development partners, our K through 12 partners, our workforce system partners that are going to be coming together this Friday to build that plan for how we work to certify the very foundational soft and essential skills that we know employees need in addition to these certifications, so that our workforce is, you know, no pun intended, truly work ready, and we have certifications that validate that. So we'll be giving you more of an update on where that's moving, but if for some reason your availability has changed and you're able to join us, just let me know today. Shoot me an email. I have to finalize that list with ACT, but appreciate everyone's support and participation.
okay. Anything else before we wrap up? I just want to mention that the next time we will gather for a quarterly roundtable will be in April. It'll be the 4th Wednesday in April, and we'll certainly get meeting information and invitations out to you prior to that. Anything else, Ellen?
Nope, we're good. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of the week. Be safe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy birthday, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. Thanks.